Now, continuing off our previous video where we just took you through an overview of the spreadsheet, we're going to now continue down to this bottom tabs, and we're going to go all the way to the right to this business operation tab that is color coded black. Now, this is going to be completed at the beginning of your season, and it's very crucial to understand these numbers and to input the correct numbers for your business, because everything in your spreadsheet is going to be based off of these numbers in creating calculations. Now, to go through these really quickly, we have the weeks budgeted per season, how many working days per week you're budgeting, how many working hours per day. The billable hours per man per season is calculated based on these three numbers, and then the number of operating crews that you have. Now, when you are creating a spreadsheet for your company, you should create a different spreadsheet, a different budget, and a different estimate for every division that is in your business. And that's really crucial in this, because if you have a maintenance division and a hardscaping division, you should create different spreadsheets using the same spreadsheet for each of these divisions, because they're going to have different overhead expenses, because they're going to be using different equipment, and they're likely not going to be sharing equipment. And even if they do share equipment, it's still better to keep that equipment separately so that it's billed out to different clients, the maintenance clients or the hardscaping clients separately. So really crucial that for every division, you should create a different spreadsheet for that division in your business. Now, if you have two operating crews for your hardscape division, that's where it comes into play that you would grade in two here. But if you have a maintenance crew and a hardscaping crew, and this spreadsheet is specifically for your hardscaping crew, you're going to only input one crew there. Now, getting into this, for this demo, we're just going to simply input just made up numbers. These are just off the top of my head as I quickly go through this with you, but just to give you an example, weeks budgeted per season, we're going to pretend that this business has a winter, so they do not get any work done in the winter. Even if they snow plow, again, you would make a different spreadsheet for your snow plowing division. Even if they are sharing equipment, again, a different spreadsheet for that snow plowing division. But we're going to put input 36 weeks budgeted for this business, and working days per week, we're going to input 5, and working hours per day, we're going to do 8 for this. And as you can see, it's pre-populated at 1440 hours per man per season for this given company. And we're just going to stick to one operating crew for now, but we'll come back to this number near the end and show you how it affects the total number in this spreadsheet when you get an estimate. And after we have this completed, what we typically do is we base this number, weeks budgeted per season, on the previous season that we had. That ensures that we're making up any lost money in that previous season, or just keeping consistent with the previous season. Say we budgeted last season 36 weeks, but we only got 34 weeks out of that. We would then put 34 weeks here just to make up for that lost time, that lost amount of money that we didn't make in that previous season. The lower amount of weeks that you budget, the more is going to be included in your estimate that you're trying to recover. That's just the way the calculation works. After this, we can move on over to the overhead expenses tab. And overhead expenses are equipment, vehicle expenses, tools, business expenses, things like rent and lawyer fees, accountants. These are expenses that you incur as being a business, even if you're not out on a job, making money and completing a project. Even if you are just sitting at home, you're doing nothing, you are still incurring these expenses. So you need to make up these expenses on every project that you estimate, every project that you sell and you get out there. You need to make them up, otherwise they're coming out of your pocket. So that's why we go through this spreadsheet and we include every piece of equipment and expenses that come from that equipment. Now, when we input equipment here, we're talking anything that has an engine in it, or anything in our business we say that is over $500. That's what we include in this equipment column. So for your business, you can really do anything you want, however you want to create the equipment category in your business. But for our business, we do anything that has an engine or is over $500 in value, and we input them here. Once again, red color-coded things are not to be edited. It has a formula, and these all have formulas. Blue, we are editing. So we're going to add in this fake company, a truck. We're going to add in a trailer, a compactor, and a saw. And you can continue down this list and include as many pieces of equipment as you want. And cost. So when we are calculating the overhead expenses, we're calculating the cost of replacement of that piece of equipment, because we want to build in the future amount of what it would cost us to replace it, so that our business is collecting that money, so that in the future, if our truck breaks down and we need to buy a new truck, we already have that money available to buy that truck, so that we're not taking out a loan or having to rush quickly to sell a project in order to use that money to buy a truck. That truck should already be paid for once we're ready to buy that truck. So the cost of replacement goes into this column. If you already have a truck and you are unsure of, if you've built in that amount of that truck, or into projects, that truck isn't paid off or anything like that, you can either include it in a cost per year if it's a lease, or if you're paying interest on it, or if you have payments on it per year, you can input that there. Or if you've invested money into your business, you and bought these pieces of equipment before you even got to build them out to a customer, you could go over to the business expenses column and you could put that in under the investment area here. Now, if you invested $50,000, it's probably not wise to right away input $50,000, because this is a yearly investment. And if you input $50,000, your overhead expenses are going to be really high because of that amount, and you're probably going to price yourselves out of a bunch of jobs. The better way to do that is to break it up into, say, 5 years, $10,000 each year, or 10 years, $5,000 each year that you're going to input it into here, just to make back that investment over time rather than all at once in a lump sum. So coming back to here, cost of replacement for a truck, we're just going to do 70,000. We're going to get 7 years out of that, and we're going to sell it for 20,000 when we're done. And as you can see, the cost of year for that truck inputs right there. And trailer, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say 15,000. We're going to get 7 years out of that, and we're going to sell it for 5,000 when we're done. Compactor, 5,000. We're going to get 5 years out of that, and we're going to sell it for 500. And the saw, we're going to do 2,500. And we're going to get 5 years out of that, and we're going to sell it for 1,000 when we're done. So now we have our overhead expenses. Our cost per year for that is already inputted up here for our total expenses for the year for that. Now, you do your best judgment on this. You can do some research on how long people are able to keep these pieces of equipment, and how many years of use they get out of them, and how much they're sold after that amount of use. And continuing on, we can go to the vehicle expenses, and you can input as many different things as you want going down this list. It's all going to calculate in that total expenses column. If you have any lease, if you have insurance, whatever that may be, you can do separate insurance. You can do insurance on the truck. You can do insurance on equipment, and do that in a separate row here. Maintenance, whatever your maintenance bill is, you can base it off of last year's maintenance bill. You can create your own forecast, whatever it may be, you can do. And we're going to do 10,000 estimated fuel costs for the year, again basing it off last year, whatever you want. In our business, we do a yearly tool budget, because there's so many tools that we go through, or we want to buy more. Tools are smaller things under $500 that don't fit in that equipment column. So we're just going to make up, say, $5,000 that we're going to budget for the year for our tools. And then again, business expenses, we can just go down this list and budget it based off of last year, or some of these things we may already know for this year, like rent. Anything else that you want to add that is a business expense that comes out of your pocket, you can input it in there. But you can make your way down this list and add anything that you want, and that'll ultimately affect the total expenses up here. And for this mock-up business, we have total expenses based at $32,271.43, and that includes everything that we've done here. Now, just reiterating here, you can input as many things as you want down here. It's all going to be added up into your total expenses. And again, vehicle expenses, you can break down insurance for your truck, insurance for your equipment, and just working your way down this list, however it may be. This is totally customizable to your business. Tools, you can list them out separately.